Update. Am I the a-hole for telling my mom she's dead to me if she mentors my bully? Original post. So my 16 male mom 40s is a teacher at my school. Our school has a special elective you can take, which is being a teacher's aide during your elective period. It's mostly stuff like grading papers for them, making copies, mentoring, etc. It's pretty much always just the teacher's favorite student at a time. I found out at the beginning of the semester that my mom chose Dave, 17 male, to be her teacher's assistant. Dave has made my life a living nightmare since middle school. He has bullied me mercilessly both physically and emotionally since 6th grade. I don't want to get into everything he's done to me, but everyone is fully aware of it, including the school and my parents. There have been countless meetings with school administration and suspensions on his end, but it never stopped him. Since we've been in high school, I haven't had to see him as much, which is a relief, but the times that I do are always terrible. When I found out that he was her new teacher's assistant, I was obviously very hurt and confused. I asked her, why would you want to spend extra time with someone who made my life so terrible? She said that she had him in one of her classes, and that he really isn't such a bad kid, but he has a really terrible home life that she can't tell me about that makes him act out. For the record, my mom has always had a soft spot for kids who come from bad homes. I reminded her of all the things he had done to me, and she said that she understands, but he really needs help right now. I told her I get that, but why does it have to be you? We have a huge school full of teachers and staff who can mentor him. Why does it have to be you? She told me to stop being selfish, and some kids have it harder than I can imagine, and she's just trying to help. I was honest with her and told her that if she continued to have him as her aide, she was dead to me. She was choosing him over me, and she would no longer be my mother. I would no longer talk to her, and the minute I turned 18, I was moving out, and she would never hear from me again. She rolled her eyes and said I was being dramatic, but after a couple of days of ignoring her, I was grounded. It didn't change my mind, and my dad then tried to force me to talk to her. I still refused. So they pretty much took everything away from me one by one for the past few weeks. I no longer have my car, computer, guitar, and most recently my art supplies. And I have to come home from school and go straight to my room, and I'm not allowed out except dinner until I start talking to her again. They don't realize that this is just strengthening my resolve. I'm going to sit in this empty room every day silently until I'm 18, and they'll never see me again. My mom keeps coming in crying and begging me to talk to her, which makes me feel kind of bad, but she still won't remove Dave as her aide. Am I taking this too far? I just feel so betrayed. Now for the top comments before reading the update. I'm sure Dave has a rough life, but it doesn't excuse his cruelty towards you. I would be extremely hurt if my mom sided with my bully. Your mom should ask one of her colleagues to take him on as an aide, and then tell Dave that given his prior history with you, it is no longer appropriate for him to be her aide. Unfortunately, she's obviously not going to do that, since she herself has resorted to bullying her own child for not just getting over it. The fact that they are punishing OP over this is wildly devastating. An ongoing conversation would have been one thing, but to see your child so upset and hurt and punish them for it, mom is freaking depraved. Yes, OP, tell your mother you now understand why she chose to mentor Dave. She's just as much a bully as he is, so it's no wonder they get along so freaking well. Not the a-hole. If my mother would have done that to me or one of my brothers, we would have treated her like a traitor. She puts her savior complex, or whatever this is, over your mental health. She is in addition to that disloyal to your family. Just ignore her and organize your life. Do good in school and leave her behind when you are old enough and independent. I cannot even compute how people do this to their own blood, but here we are. I wish you the best. I couldn't figure out what was bugging me about this. It's the mom's savior complex. You got it down perfectly. She wants to be the teacher who reformed her son's bully at the expense of her relationship with her son. Well, when it's finally shown she's a bad parent and he bails at 18, she'll get her recognition. Charity is great when you make others suffer for it and you get all the credit. There's a saying, it is easy to be generous with other people's money. Now for the update. A lot has actually happened since last week, and while nothing is really fixed, I think things are going in the right direction. On Friday, I got called out of class to the guidance counselor. When I got there, my mom and the assistant principal were there as well. The counselor asked me to sit down and said that me changing tracks from college to trade, like I mentioned in my last post, was a big decision. And she wanted to sit down with my mom and me to figure out if this really was the best for my future. She first asked me if I would fully explain why I wanted to switch. I explained the whole situation from my perspective and about how I was being punished. I said that if this is how I was going to be treated from now on, I wanted to become independent as soon as possible, and going to college would have me relying on my parents for longer than I would like. She then asked my mom if she had anything she would like to add. My mom tried to downplay the whole situation at first and make it look like I was just being stubborn and disrespectful. But as the counselor asked her more questions, it became pretty clear that my side was truth. After this, the assistant principal stepped in and said that a teacher's aide was not worth all of this turmoil and that Dave would be switched with another teacher. The counselor then asked me if this would help me to start working things out with my mom. I said not really, because it wasn't even her choice, and she hasn't even admitted she's done anything wrong. She then asked my mom if she was willing to apologize for anything that had happened. My mom gave a half-hearted apology, where she said things had gone overboard and she never meant to hurt me so much. The counselor asked if I would like to apologize for anything as well, and I said not really, but nobody pressed me on it. The counselor then said about my transfer. It was too late for the semester. What she suggested is that my mom and I, and possibly my dad, should go to a family counselor for the rest of the semester. I would stay in my current classes, my parents would give me all of my stuff back, and we could see if we can come to some kind of peace before next semester. She then asked my mom that if after that I still had not changed my mind, would she accept the class changes. My mom said no at first because she wanted me to go to college, but I told her that she had already failed me as a mother once. Please don't do it again. She got really quiet and said she would agree to it if that was what I really wanted. When I got home, all of my stuff was returned to me. I also started talking to my mom again and just kind of felt like there wasn't a point to ignoring her anymore. I don't treat her like a mother or anything anymore, but I'll answer her if she asks me a question. It just feels like that now that I have a plan, a lot of my anger is gone, and I just see her as a person who happens to live in my house. We haven't scheduled our first counseling session yet, but I don't see it changing much anyway. The damage is done, so I don't see myself changing my mind. That's pretty much it. I probably won't update again unless something crazy happens or something. Thank you to everyone who gave me good advice. Update us when you graduate, or let us know how the trade route goes, or update us once you finish the semester. We're all here cheering you on. Honestly, I'm glad that you got your stuff back. But it's wild to me that it took your assistant principal saying WTF, this isn't worth it, to switch out Dave. I think your plan is good. The fact that your mom hasn't apologized speaks volumes. I won't count that half-baked apology. Yes, I really don't understand his mom. What is her deal? What is her problem? What is her thought process? It's wild to me that after everything, she still can't see she needs to talk to her kid and explain where her head is at without denigrating her own child. I'm just flabbergasted. Her hero complex is higher than being a parent. I suspect you nailed it right. It's mind-boggling she was willing to hurt her own kid this badly. You either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain. I'm so sorry your mother isn't capable of seeing how she's hurting you, but at least it's a change for the better. Having grown up around multiple insanely self-centered and narcissistic grown-ups that pop out children without any expectation of raising them, I believe every word. Fun fact. The worst parent I know, a dude who fathered and abandoned at least 15 children across multiple states. Settled down in his 60s and is now raising one son with a random lady. Here's the kicker. By all accounts, he's an amazing dad. People are insane. Next story. Am I the a-hole for snapping back at my mom and saying, why can't you just be like my cousin's mom when she was comparing me to my cousin? I, 16 female, have a cousin, 16 female, who my mom often compares me to. My cousin has really good grades, her lowest being like a 96, while my highest grade is a 73 in PE. Yes, I know it's bad. Me and my mom got into an argument a few days ago about my grades. My grades are a thing we argue about a lot. My mom had checked my grades while I was out at work, and they were 24, 17, 73, 0, 36, non-graded class, 58, and 42. I know they're horrible, but I can't help it. The reason my grades are so low is because I never have the energy or time to do assignments. I wake up, go to school, after school go to work until 11 p.m. on school nights, and 1 or 2 a.m. on weekends. Then I go home, clean, and if I have an appetite, then make food and then go to sleep, and the cycle repeats. I'm honestly beyond exhausted when I get home. Oftentimes I can't sleep, and I don't even have the energy to change clothes or shower. It's gross, I know. No need to lecture me about it. During our argument, my mom said, "Why can't you be more like your cousin?" It's something she said before, but I was already in a really bad mood and snapped back at her saying, "Why can't you be like cousin's mom?" She looked at me like she saw a ghost, and I started apologizing profusely. She slapped me and told me to go to my room, so I did. That night, I tried to go to talk to her, but she just ignored me. I know what I said was wrong, but I can't help but feel she deserved it. For context, my cousin and her family are pretty wealthy. Her mom is a doctor and her dad is a lawyer, so I'm sure you can imagine their total income. While me and my mom barely survive on our combined income. I have to give her 95% of my paycheck, including all tips, so I don't have much. I'm a waitress, and what I do get goes into food. I often go days without food while my cousin eats out almost every day. They'll invite me, but I can never go due to work or my mom not allowing me. My cousin and her family also go on vacation 3 to 5 times a year, which I'm invited to but can't ever go to. I know my mom tries her best to provide for me and her, as my bio dad bailed out when my mom got pregnant with me, but I often feel myself resent her because I see her going out on dates in luxury restaurants which are all paid for, while I'm stuck at work, starving. While on a date, she always orders more than she can eat and take the rest home for herself. I'm not allowed to have any of it or I'll get in trouble. She'll also often bring guys over, and I'll have to come home after a long day to sounds of my mom having fun in the bedroom. I love my mom so much, but it's been a few days since we talked, and I feel like such a bad daughter. I'd love advice on how to fix things or what to do about this situation. So, am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. I don't get the idea you have that your mother is some kind of a saint. She's busy getting laid while you're working your fingers to the bone paying her rent, and she doesn't even take care of you. Your mother is a piece of turd. Agree, she's a POS. She can't even bother to share the nice food with her hardworking daughter. Sounds like mom is a hoe. I wouldn't be surprised if she isolated a dad away from Opie. Sweetie, there is nothing you need to apologize for. You can let her know this is how you feel every time she says it to you. Your mom should be caring for you and not tearing you down. The fact that she will eat good while you go without is beyond me. Do you have a trusted adult you could talk to? Are you able to get your own account? As a mother, I will say what your mom should say. I am proud of you. Thank you for doing your best while helping your household. The fact that you work and go to school is amazing. Don't ever quit. Please don't think that this is all life has to offer you. I see so much strength and potential in you. You have a fighter spirit. What are your plans for after high school? Thank you. And I have my cousin's parents I can talk to, but it's always with my mom's supervision, and there are some things she forbids me from talking about, which I have not included in this post. About after high school, I don't really have any plans as I know my grades are really bad, so it's likely I won't get into a college or something. Last story. Am I the a-hole for demanding my dad's wife cut her only family out of her life over a prank? My dad married Bridget 10 years ago. My brother and I were a-hole kids who did not like her, so we put purple dye in her specialty purple shampoo for blondes. It didn't even work as well as we thought, because we didn't realize dye needed to soak in, so she was left with a few purple streaks she couldn't get out. Now, I'm not saying it was okay, but Bridget lost her mind. She was hysterical and screaming at my dad she was going to hurt us, saying she would never be in the house with us again. At one point, she began scratching herself because she was so distraught. Bridget ran off and my dad lost his crap on us. He said we ruined his life, and she was the only thing that mattered to him. Bridget refused to return to the house if we were there, so he banned us from the house. Our mom had primary custody anyway. He kept saying he would never forgive us. When I graduated high school, he refused to help me with college. I ended up working multiple jobs to get by, and my brother simply never met. I always thought this would blow over, as I thought she was his midlife crisis. As before meeting Bridget, he was the definition of a stoic hard-ass. Nope, he was acting like some obsessed teen boy. Well, we recently reconnected and they're still together. My wife wanted me to play nice with him for financial reasons and for our daughter's future. She even wanted Bridget to help her get a job. My dad is willing to help us out but shows no remorse and says we need to understand she is his life. Well, they recently celebrated their 10th anniversary, and Bridget's brother-in-law decided to reminisce and put some purple stuff in her hair, which is washable, but she had a hell of a time getting it out of her very blonde hair. Don't get me wrong, he got smacked for that. But 1, there was no hysteria. 2, my dad was laughing at her and made her pose for a picture. 3, there was 0 ultimatum. Apparently, he gets a pass because he's a huge prankster. Also, he got her way worse than I did. When I found out about this, I was irate. So it is okay for a grown man to do, but not a dumb kid? I called him up and said that Bridget needed to cut them out of her life if my dad wanted any relationship with me. My dad said I was being ridiculous, as they were her only family and only parent figures. I reminded him I was his freaking kid. He claimed she was much more anxious and insecure when I did it, and claimed that it was different because he did it with love, and she was scared of what my brother and I would escalate to. I told him I hope the next prank is near and they can both buzz off, and unless she cuts out her brother-in-law and sister, no more contact from us. My dad is backing Bridget 100%. Info: how many other pranks were prior to the purple hair dye? That wasn't a prank, they were intentionally malicious. They hated her and wanted to punish her. Sounds like OP hasn't changed much. Yeah, it was a malicious attack. It's different too, coming from someone who hates you and wants to hurt you. So you were 17 when you did your prank to a woman you admit you didn't and still don't like. Of course she had a bad reaction, and her husband backed her up. Do I think it was too far to ban you guys permanently? Yep. But you did have your mom to stay at, who had primary custody. This getting back in touch with dad is financially motivated, by your own words. What her prankster sibling did, while similar, had nothing to do with you. They have an entirely different relationships than you did, as your dad's kids who never liked his wife. Whatever trust was building, you destroyed with that prank. Of course you're the a-hole. You also seem to not realize you have no leverage when it comes to your dad. You only came back around for financial reasons, and for this pawns you apparently can't even support yourself. So how is you threatening to cut contact from him a threat? You reached out, not him. Idiot. Definition of don't threaten me with a good time.